Mr. Mactaggart.
Chairman Thune, Ranking Member Markey, and members of the committee, thank you for this opportunity to testify today. It is an honor and a privilege. I come to you as the chairman of Californians for Consumer Privacy, the group that sponsored a ballot measure which resulted in the passage last June of the California Consumer Privacy Act, or CCPA. I also come to you as a father of 3 little children, concerned about the world they're growing up in, a world in which potentially every step and test they take and every decision they make will be tracked and sold to thousands of companies they've never heard of. And finally, I come to you as a business person. I want to touch on this because this is, after all, the Senate Commerce Committee, and you heard from representatives of giant corporations only 2 weeks ago that the sky will essentially fall if you leave CCPA intact. This law was rushed and badly drafted, they said, and it needs preemption right away. Well, I just want to say in public that I feel like I'm someone like, who I'm sure all of you, feels that commerce is one of the most potent forces for good in this country. I make my living in Northern California, where many of these tech giants are headquartered. And let me assure you that I have no wish to hurt either our state's or our country's economy. Neither I nor CCPA are anti-business, and the law was not rushed. On the contrary, we spent years talking to legal and technical experts, academics, businesses, privacy advocates, and its language reflects thousands of hours of careful drafting. Now, before I describe CCPA's 3 main elements, it's important just to remember that it only covers large business with over $25 million of annual revenue and data brokers buying and selling personal information. So the first component of CCPA is the right to know, which will allow Californians the right to find out what information corporations have collected about them. Next is the right to say no, which allows Californians to tell businesses to stop selling their personal information. Now, our rationale is simple. You're already paying these corporations either with your wallet or your eyeballs. Their business proposition is totally one-sided. Either have a cell phone, use the internet, and watch your information get sold, or go live in the Stone Age. We think that's not right. CCPA has a sensible solution. It allows companies to collect and use your information, including, importantly, to advertise to you. It just doesn't give them a license to resell that information for the rest of your life if you don't agree. The final major piece of CCPA involves data security. CCPA requires corporations to take basic measures to keep California's data safe. The world has changed post-Cambridge Analytica, which members of this committee know better than anyone, and data security is near and dear to voters' hearts. Companies need to do a better job taking care of our information. I entered this effort because I learned of a world where corporations are using your digital footprint to track you across the majority of the world's websites, whether you know it or not, creating a detailed profile of you and using it to take advantage of your life circumstances, whether they think you might be considering divorce, pre-diabetic, or a persuadable and gullible voter. Every click of your mouse and every term you search for helps create a digital file on you that dwarfs what any intelligence agency has ever known about its citizens. We understand that this committee is considering a national standard for data privacy, but we implore you not to weaken or undo the safeguards CCPA has so recently put in place, which now cover 40 million Americans. 1 in 8 Americans are now covered by this law. A law, I might add, that consistently polled at 80% and above. A law which 629,000 voters petitioned to put on the ballot. And a law which passed out of both houses of our state legislature unanimously. That's right, not a single Democrat or Republican voted against this law. And that's because privacy is not a partisan issue. All voters care deeply about it. So thank you for your time. We're committed to making sure that any national privacy legislation allows Americans the choice to take meaningful control over their information and their children's information.